I've been on a long grind.
Yes, everybody. Welcome to another episode of FS Uncut. I'm your host, Daniel. Boys, how's everyone doing?
Yep, right. Blessed. Can't complain. You know what I'm saying? My team's doing all right. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. I can't complain.
Flawless. I've been seeing your tweets online today. Going to raise your hands up if you're top of the league. What happened to your tweets?
Say that last bit again. You broke up a bit. Say that last bit again.
I said you've been tweeting about put your hands up if your team is top of the league. What happened to those tweets?
Hey, them tweets are still out there. Man, just be busy, innit? You get what I'm saying? That man, just be busy. That's what it is. Because it was actually good nights, and it was good night to everybody whose team's top of the league, innit? But now it's good night to everybody whose team has won 9-0 this year. You get what I'm saying? That's what it is. That's what it is, innit? You switch it up, innit? You know what I'm saying? I've just not done it in a minute. That's all. I'm saying, but we're still out here.
I like the creativity, but now thank you for coming on. Obviously, your FS debut. Hopefully, it's a good one. We can't really grill you because your club's been doing well, but hopefully next time you come on, United aren't doing too well. But I think that's a perfect place to start. Look, listen, United 9, Southampton 0. As soon as Southampton got that red card, I'm thinking this is going to be a long game. But 9-0 again, second season in a row, that's absolutely embarrassing. We can big up Ralph, we can big up Southampton all we want. If you lose 9-0 2 seasons in a row, there's absolutely no excuses. What do you guys think? I'll start with the United fans first because obviously you man must be gassed.
Go on, Manny, you go in it, and then I'll pitch in after you. Look at.
Do you know what? Yeah, obviously, it's sick. I can't remember when last, other than maybe the beginning, last season we were putting 5 past teams and stuff in it. So to put 9 goals here past Southampton, that was unbelievable, man. That was sick. And you know what it is, I was doing a live stream with Flawless, innit? And the moment that red card went, I said it. I was like, bro, 5-0 straight up. I was talking like it's gonna be like a 2-1 before, you know what I mean? Maybe a 3-2, because you know how Southampton are to us, innit? They're like our bogey team, innit? But that was sick, bro. Come on, Martial with 2 goals. It was just sick, bro. It was just sick. You got Bruno with his trademark penalty. And what I really about it is us, man, we're playing we camp them in their box. And people say we can't break down little blocks, we can. Obviously, if man sets up the team properly, we can, innit? But all in all, sick performance. Everyone played well. Dan James came on and did his thing, got his goal. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I loved it for me personally, And you know what topped it, was the fact that Arsenal got 2 red cards before. You got a man like Leno coming out doing a madness. So, you know what I mean? It was literally the best day ever. Then the next day, Liverpool go and lose to Brighton. So what can I say, bro? Only good teams win. You get me? 9-0.
Flawless, before I come on to you, I just need to ask Basil, because Basil hasn't addressed it on Twitter. He didn't address it in the group chat. Basil, what about with Arsenal? 2 red cards, Leno playing volleyball outside his box. What's going on there?
Oh, Basil's an Arsenal fan. Oh, Mazin, my prayers with you, my brother. But go on, continue.
It's a misunderstanding because I'm actually a West Ham fan.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. That's what we're doing.
People keep getting, I don't know why people keep confusing me as an Arsenal fan. But if I'm going to talk about Arsenal as a non-Arsenal, nah, I'm joking. Do you know what it is? I don't even want to get onto the referee because then I'll be sounding a bit like Ty from Arsenal Fan TV. So the Luiz decision was ridiculous. And Leno, honestly, I don't even know what he was doing. He went from being a goalkeeper to starting to do synchronized swimming to then decide I'm going to change my career and become a volleyball player. I was like, what on earth is he doing? And honestly, I've never really been a fan of Leno because he's so error prone. These are the kind of things he's just prone to doing, moments of madness. But like I said, the referees are against us in this league. I mean, it was all compounded when they overturned Bednarek's red card. And then they gave a silly excuse for Luiz's red card by saying there was intent in his challenge. I'm like, where's their intent when the guy flicks his leg up on your knee and you can't do anything about it? At least Bednarek came across Martial. So there's more intent in that challenge than there was in the Luiz challenge. But it's everybody hates Arsenal winning, so what can we say?
Flawless, don't worry, I'll come to you and I'll come to United because obviously you won 9-0 and we need to address that. But Basil made a good point about the rest being against Arsenal. I've been seeing bare conspiracy theories on Twitter. Like, what's that about? Like, I've been seeing stats about how you Arsenal get the least decisions, things like that. Is that actually true, or do you think Arsenal fans are just moaning?
Arsenal fans are just complaining, and you know what? I'm with them. You know what it is, though. I understand if I haven't seen my team win a major trophy since 2004, I'd be complaining too. I get it, innit? Like, I'm fully with them. I understand, innit? They haven't won a Champions League. They haven't won a major trophy since 04. The last time they was in a title race was like 05. There's certain people watching this right now who haven't seen Arsenal win a major trophy. So I understand. You get me? To go from here all the way down to here, I understand, innit? You get what I'm saying? We scored 9 goals. They finished with 9 men. The levels is different. You get what I'm saying? I get it. I get it, innit? I understand, innit? I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand, innit? We scored 9 goals. They can't even get above 9th position. I understand their frustration. You know what I'm saying in that? I understand it, innit?
Where's the eject button? Because
I get it, innit? Because the thing is, they've gone from invincibles and having world-class players to Bellerins and Xhakas and El Nini. So I understand their frustration, but this whole, the refs are against them. Maybe there's something to it. I've not seen it. Yes, David Luiz shouldn't have been sent off, but still yet, the Leno one, they can't really complain about. That's a clear red card, so I don't see it in it. I don't see this refs against him in it. Maybe it's Ty in it. Ty from Arsenal Fan TV be getting in everybody's head. I personally don't see this decisions against us in that. Because I watched them when they played in, was it the final against Chelsea? And all the decisions in the FA Cup final went against Chelsea, if I remember correctly. Somebody who should have been sent off, like when Kovacic, I think, got sent off. That's never a red card. Yeah, it was Kovacic that got sent off. It's never a red card. Never in a million years. But if that's Arsenal, if that's Xhaka getting that tackle, Arsenal fans are complaining. So I don't see it. When they won the FA Cup final off it, they weren't complaining.
Do you know what? I agree with you. Is like, I don't think there is an agenda against Arsenal. I think we've had some bad decisions, but I think it's
agenda. You're just dead.
Everyone gets bad. I think the Leno but I think the Luiz decision was absolutely outrageous. And the fact that like they could have gone and rectified that and they wanted to cover themselves, like I said, the referees association is run like a mafia. They all look after each other. No one wants to go against each other. That's literally what the organization is like. And listen, in these as in America where they're saying that disband the police, we need to disband the referees association.
defund the referees. Here's the thing though. I think we're giving them too much credit in terms of agendas. I just think they're poor at their job. I just think it's legit that. Like, even though United won 9-0 against Southampton, that Martial one is never a penalty. I said it when we was doing it. It's never a penalty.
The offside goal that Southampton scored, I've been looking at the picture and I still can't see like why they gave offside. Like, I can't physically see it. And they bring in VAR to help the referees. But how can you bring in VAR and then the next day you're rescinding a decision that went to VAR? Like, what's going on there?
He was offside.
I don't even know. I don't even know what offside is or isn't anymore. I legit don't know. I don't know. I just celebrate when it goes for my team because I'm unsure in it. I don't think they know. I don't think they know what offside is anymore. I don't get it. Get me? I'm lost. But it is what it is.
You know what the madness is? The madness is this is right. They're doing offsides by saying like where the sleeve of the arm is, but the area that they're drawing the lines in, if the ball actually touches that area, is deemed as a handball. So I'm like, how are you using areas that you can't use to score a goal to draw your lines? These guys, honestly, they're making it up as they go, and it's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I think that's enough about Arsenal because, as Flawless said, I don't think we should be spending time on a team that can't get above 9th place. Flawless, last time I saw you, we were talking about United title challenge. Look, you won 9-0. If you look at your next 3 games, you're playing Everton, West Brom, and somebody else who you should be Newcastle. That will take you up to 25 games, 13 games to go. Liverpool faltering, which we'll get onto. United are in the title race. Do you actually think you can go over the line and actually win the league 21 and 21? Do you think it's going to happen, or do you still think it's a myth?
Still the same. Still a myth. I agree with you in terms of, I said this last time and I'll say this now. Yes, we are currently in the title race. If you look at where we are in the league, how many points we're off the top, we're definitely 1000% in the title race. Do I believe we can win a league title? Absolutely not. Simply because of the manager we have. That's literally the only reason why. If we had a top class manager, I'm starting the stream singing 21 in 21. Yes, I'll say it on Twitter and run joke and run banter. And like I said, I'm just going to ride it till the wheels fall off because I don't believe with this manager we are good enough. And when you look at our losses and draws, the majority of them, minus a couple, the manager has to be held accountable. Like people are like, oh, the draw against away to Liverpool was a good result. Anytime Manchester United go away to Anfield and get a point, I'm content with it. Never unhappy, always content. But then when you look at their following, I think 2 league games and you see Brighton go there and win and you see Burnley go there and win, why can't we do that? Or people going to jump in the comments and tell me that Brighton and Burnley have better teams than Manchester United and better attacks. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't put the pressure. We didn't press it. You know what I'm saying? I watched the Brighton game. Brighton deserved their win. It's not like Liverpool peppered their goal. Brighton deserved their win. And they went there and put more pressure on Liverpool's defense than we did. Why didn't we go for it more? We had the attacking players to win that game. Yes, Pogba and Bruno probably should have scored, but why are we relying on 2 chances? So that game just sums up why I don't think we win this league, because I think the manager will get more key decisions wrong than he does right. But I want to be wrong about it.
You say you want to be wrong, and Manny has been as consistent with you with this whole Oli. Like, Manny has never praised Oli. But the thing is, at this present point in time, Manchester United...
Wait. Oli, don't do that. Don't do that. No, listen, I'll give Oli his flowers, innit? Like Flawless always says, innit? You got to give man his flowers when he's doing his thing, innit? And obviously he's done his thing in certain games, innit? But like, it's like a discussion that has been going on with a few people, like the eye test, innit? On the eye test, when you see us play football, we don't play good football. The fact that we're second and we're still playing dead football, is surprising to me. Do you know what I mean? But like, Oli has done well so far. However, do I want him to be Manchester United manager? No. Am I going to scream Oli out right now? No. Am I going to scream Oli in? Never.
But the thing is, you're not going to say Oli in, but at this present point in time, the only team better than you is Manchester City. Like, if you were going to go into the season, the number one priority would have been, let's close the gap on the top 2. You've closed the gap on Liverpool because you're above them now. I think you're 4 or 5 points ahead of us. Leicester, you're on top of them, and you're only.
Here's the thing: when a car's broken, when someone has smashed in your window, what do you do? You're putting cardboard box or something there, just to block everything out until you can take it to the repair shop. That's what Oli is. He's that cardboard box that you put there to cover the window until you can take it to the repair shop and get a proper glass to come in and actually repair it properly. Because this is like one of those purple patch seasons for him. It's not going to last beyond next season, because then the big boys are going to rectify all the mistakes that have happened this season. And, if he's still there, I think Man U regress down the league. So I think if the board are serious, they look at this and say, you're doing a good job, but should be searching for a proper manager to come over, have proper tactics and take Man U back to where the fans want them to be.
I think the thing with Oli is he's lucky that the pool of world-class managers is very poor at the moment, because Basil said, if the board was serious, they'll go and find a manager. But then if you actually look at the managers out there, apart from maybe Allegri, there's not actually any proven managers who have actually won trophies who will be available. So I think that's what's helping Oli.
That's true to an extent, but just touching on what Basil said, see, what he just said there, if I say that, people call me a negative fan, but Basil as an Arsenal fan says it and nobody says anything. What he just said about us is spot on there. And he doesn't want Manchester United to be successful. So, he doesn't have no agendas or anything like that. He wants Oli to stay in. Everything he just said there was 1,000% correct in terms of us regressing. Yes, Oli deserves his flowers because context matters. We have closed the gap on City. Liverpool are not what they were. Chelsea sacked their manager. So they're not what they were. In terms of results, Oli's done a good job because results don't lie. So the result test, he's passed. And he deserves flowers for that because he's getting his results. Until United lost to Sheffield United, we hadn't lost a game in 2 months. So results, cool. But then you look at the performances in a 2-month period, we probably played well 3 times. And with the ballers you have, that's not acceptable because people seem to have this myth that to win football matches, you have to play ugly football. Like, no, if we play better football, we probably create more chances and then we probably score more goals, which then helps us win more games. So if you turn the draws, some of them draws and losses that we've had, we're probably clear of City. If you turn a couple of them losses into wins, like some of the draws and losses we've had have been terrible, especially that I think of the Arsenal one at home, the Arsenal one away, that's 2, Chelsea 3. That's just 3 off the top of the dome.
Yeah.
Liverpool away, Leicester away. Like, that's 5 games man's just named. If you add 7-8 points from those games we didn't get, we're clear of Manchester City right now. And yes, players have to be held accountable, so does the manager. So my ideal is for Oli I want Oli to win the league title this season and then dip. You get me? And tell everyone, F you've got it wrong, and then we get a proper manager in. That's my ideal scenario, but I don't believe that will happen.
Now, that's true. And you touched on Liverpool, saying that Liverpool aren't what they used to be. Look, we just lost back-to-back games. And the thing is, not as if Liverpool lost back-to-back home games to City, Man United, Chelsea. We lost back-to-back. You're muted. Manny, you're muted. Manny, you're muted.
No, I'm saying I don't even want to hear the word back-to-back out of your mouth. All I was screaming, was back-to-back trophy. We're going to do the Champions League. We're doing the Premier League. Listen, man, like Basil said, you guys need to relax. You win your first Premier League title in 30 years, and you're pumping your chest like you're a big boy. Listen, relax, chill. You see where it's only going to get worse for you, 100%. It's only going to get worse. You man signed two dead centre back to come and replace Van Dijk and what's his name, Matip. Come on, man, you man got to do better than that. You lot are dead food. You're 4th now, innit? I guarantee you, 4th. 2 weeks time you'll be 5th.
Yeah. Money, but at least he's using back-to-back in the right context this time. So
don't say it.
Do you know
Where's Harold?
Yeah, he's hiding somewhere in another country. But Daniel, I think I'm looking at Liverpool, right? I think things are going to get worse for you guys. And the reason why I'm saying it, because I'm looking at the age of your players too. Van Dijk, right, probably may not play again this season. That's what Klopp said. He's going to be 30 years old. So you're saying with the injury he has, how many years does he really have at the top level? Matip has glass legs. Salah I think it's going to be like 29, 32. Mane is also getting on to. Firmino's, let's forget Firmino. He's doing his best Casper the Ghost impressions in 3 games for you guys. Your midfield with Wijnaldum is going, Henderson's aging. Like, your team actually needs a revamp. And I don't think Klopp realizes that. And I think everyone else is strengthening. I think Liverpool, over the next few years, you're talking about dominating. I think you guys are in trouble. You could be coming down to Arsenal levels, you know?
Wait. Before I get on to Flawless, Basil likes doing this thing. I don't know if you guys have clocked it. He likes bringing Arsenal into the discussion. He loves it. Basil, you need to relax. We're not coming to your level. Your level is 15th by Christmas. We're not getting there. But Flawless, what are you saying on Liverpool though? Because look, as a Liverpool fan, the thing is, obviously, if you have your 3 starting centre backs, it's gonna affect you. But the thing that's been our problem is not as if teams are peppering us. We can't break teams down. You said against Brighton, we didn't pepper the goal, and it was the same against Burnley. Even when we played against Man United, apart from maybe the first 15 minutes, you man weren't shook, and that's been Liverpool for a while now.
Yeah, I think it's looking like Basil touched on it, the end of the cycle for that team, and Klopp's got to rebuild. Big up the Blues Boys Network also. Klopp's got to rebuild, because if you look, I think you'll know this obviously better than me, Daniel, minus Trent, the majority of like your first 11 are either in their prime years or above. They're all like 26, 27 and above. If you look at Salah, Firmino, Mane, Henderson, Van Dijk, Wijnaldum, Thiago, who you've just signed as well, Robertson. So it's only really Trent that is youthful. So you have to go again. Is Klopp going to stick around and want to rebuild? Is FSG going to want to put the money in to rebuild this Liverpool team to where it wants to be? Because we know Klopp's like Pep. Once he gets his players in his system, it works. We've seen this. Liverpool have won the Premier League. They've won the Champions League, played extremely well. Not records points total, but high records points total, scored plenty of goals, etc. Played great football. So is Klopp going to want to stick around? And then another thing is, are the players there? You know what I'm saying? Like in terms of, I think teams have become very lazy in terms of scouting, because you touched on it just before,
100.
Daniel, about, or even with not just players, even with managers. Like you said, there's not many managers out there, true, that we know about, but surely these scouting systems that I spent thousands of pounds on, you can go and find a Poch out of nowhere, or even though he's been beat 9-0 twice, a Hasselhüttl or something like that. You're telling me you can't go Germany and there's not a manager who could develop into certain. Well, me personally, I can only speak for me. I didn't know Poch before he went to Southampton. No, I had no idea about him because he was at Espanyol before that. And look at what he did at Southampton and then Spurs. Now he's at PSG. But it seems like boards don't want to do that. They just want to fast track and go get a manager. I would love Allegri, but go scout. So whether Klopp's going to do that in terms of players, I don't know, because it's a big job. But if he doesn't, where does he go from there? Maybe the German national job. Does he want to stay at Liverpool? How hungry is he? Because he's won the 2 major trophies while he's been over here. So if you're a Liverpool fan, he's one of them. I'd be concerned, because I thought this was just form. I thought Hughes lot would break out of this. But then when I look at who's coming back to help Hughes kick on. Yeah, I don't know when Jota's back. Maybe Jota can do it. Maybe if Van Dijk comes back, Henderson or Fabinho go into the midfield, and that helps your team more, and you can press teams back. But yeah, man, it's great to see Liverpool struggling, isn't it? Fantastic in that. Great stuff.
Now, what you said about the scouting thing, the reason why I mentioned Allegri, because Basil said a proven manager. So in terms of like proven managers, Allegri's probably one of the.
I want Allegri at United.
But I completely agree with what you said about players and managers. Like, just because there isn't somebody who's won trophies doesn't mean there isn't a manager there that can actually do well. And I think it's a problem that clubs have. It's a problem that pundits have. They only look at trophies. But then before 2008, who was Pep Guardiola? Before 2004, who was Jose Mourinho? But these coaches came from somewhere and did their thing. So 100%. And with Liverpool, Basil is right. And I don't know how many Liverpool fans you, man, follow on Twitter. But what you're saying now, Liverpool fans have been saying it in the summer. That's why when we went through the whole summer without signing anyone before we signed Thiago and Jota, you have to remember, we signed these players very late. We were getting worried because we were looking at our squad and thinking, we've had this squad for 3-4 years and no team does well with the same squad for over 3-4 years. We've seen it with United. We've seen it with Arsenal. So yeah, what Basil said is right. Like, for Liverpool, it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. I don't know how much worse it's going to get, but it is going to get worse. And we just have to hope that the teams below us continue to be crap, because if we drop out of that top 4 and we don't make top 4 this year, it's going to be long for Liverpool. Very, very long. But speaking of long, another team that's long for Spurs. What we said about them, because look, Jose Mourinho, Manny said at the start of the season that he's a dead manager. And people were saying that, well, I was the first person to say that Manny's just hating. He's saying because Jose Mourinho did crap at United. But Paul Merson just came out and said United are the Spurs are the worst team to watch in the Premier League. So what are you, man, saying about Spurs? Because for me, I can only see them going downhill. I can't see them making top 4. Top 6 is also mythical for them.
Manny was spot on. I'm, as a Manchester United fan, said it. Talk to any Manchester United fan, any Chelsea fan. We told you this was going to happen. I told Spurs fans this. Like, the honeymoon period with Jose Mourinho is absolutely fantastic. Nothing better than that. You know what I'm saying? If it was a partnership and a marriage, at the start of it is great. You know what I'm saying? The honeymoon period, you get me? Rose petals on the bed, champagne on the side, everything, the whole 9. But once it goes downhill, date nights every night, and it make you feel special. Like, I don't forget, people. During the period when he was at Manchester United, we were calling us Forchester United because we were just slapping teams 4-0. I think it was the start of the second season, just beating team after team 4-0. But when it goes, go on, man.
Do you know how sick it was? Yeah, I remember against West Ham, innit? And Matic, Matic was running past man on the right wing like bed.
I remember that.
Jose has got man doing a madness, innit? But that didn't even last long. But yeah, carry on, bro.
Yeah, and it's great, it's fantastic. But then when it dips, oh my God, when it gets bad, it gets as bad as it can get. And you can see it with Spurs fans. And I warned Spurs fans because, remember, they beat us 6-1 this season. So I remember doing match reactions with them. Spurs fans were gassed, talking about, you get me, they can challenge for the league. They're going to finish above United, blah, blah, blah. And I said, just wait. You know what I'm saying? Because Mourinho, one thing, he might win you a trophy because he wins trophies. But it always, always ends in tears. Like, I shared something yesterday, and it was a female reporter in it, and blue tick, so it's her. And she asked him, why didn't Gareth Bale come on? And he said, that's a good question, but you don't deserve an answer. He does not care. This is typical Mourinho. You know what I'm saying? And that this is man told the woman, you do not deserve an answer, because he knows it's a legitimate question, and if he answers it, he's gonna fall over. It's all gonna end in tears. He plays terrible football. We know this, and it's sad to see because I'm a big Mourinho fan as well. Like I'm a massive Mourinho. Like when he came into United originally, I was gassed. I didn't want to believe his powers have faded, but they're gone in it. His powers have gone, unfortunately. Good luck to Spurs, innit?
Do you know what, Dan? It's a shame. Like, I'm a huge Mourinho fan, and it actually pains me to say this too. But like, at this point, I think what it is self-sabotage. He's trying to prove a point to Daniel Levy in terms of player recruitment. And the things that I don't even know why he accepted the job in the first place, because Mourinho is the type of manager, when he comes into a job, he needs to be backed financially with the type of players that he wants. He was never, ever going to get that with Daniel Levy, just looking at his reputation and how he's operated since he's joined the club and with the previous managers he's had. So I was very surprised Mourinho went there, because I'm like, you're not going to get the financial backing you think you deserve. And it's all coming to a head. It's like Eric Dyer's throwing stinkers after stinkers week after week. He's still in that squad.
He wanted Dyer at United, you know. He wanted to pay 40 million for Eric Dyer. Do you know how mad that is? I'm sorry. Like, that's when I knew this guy was done. When he wanted Dyer or the Varane and William. Was he think this is 2015?
Man wanted to get rid of Martial to get Willian and
Harrison.
You know what I'm saying? Man wanted Arnautovic and these man. You know what I'm saying? These like done.
Do you know when it's when when was it? Was it Boateng, innit? Obviously, I like Boateng, and I slightly wanted him at United, obviously, with our defence and stuff, innit? But it's after man signed Eric Bailly one season, Victor Lindelof the next season, and then man said, I want Boateng this season. Listen, brother, you got to go. You got to go.
Do you know
it is, and I'm with Basil. Like, it pains me to see. It just pains me to see all like banter and joke aside, when somebody's great like he was, to see them fall off. It's just sad to see. It's like I always use this analogy. It's like a boxer who was fantastic and he just boxed on too long, and now he's just getting beat up by people he should not be getting beat up by. That's what it is with Mourinho. Like, you've took too many punches to the head. You haven't adapted your style. Like, it's a wrap, man. This is one of the greatest managers of our, like, I always say this, from 2003 to 2010. He was the man. He was the guy. And now to see him, and no disrespect, at Spurs trying to win a Carabao Cup, he's not even in a conversation with your Peps and Klopps no more. Remember when he came to Manchester United, it was like Pep at City versus Mourinho at United. That rivalry don't even happen no more. They're not even spoke about in the same breath, and that's sad to see, man, because he was a great.
Nah, it is, because like you said, he's on the conversation with Pep and Klopp. The fact that it's Pep and Klopp, like Klopp has overtaken him. For me, like when you actually deep that, that's actually crazy. Because Jose Mourinho, like you said, is a great, like one of the best managers I've seen. But me personally, I think he's done, man. I think after Spurs, it's either he becomes a full-time pundit on beIN Sports or something, or becomes a national team manager. Because
you know
he's done at the top level.
I thought about that too, Dan. I thought, where does he go? I don't think he's done now, because I think in European football, there's still stock for Mourinho to come back at certain clubs, even if it is a Barcelona. Even I don't think obviously the way
he ain't going Barca.
Because the reason I say that, because the way Barcelona have even fallen, I'm not saying they're not, but the way Barcelona have even fallen too in stock, and obviously if Messi leaves, it's a finished club. They might even be tempted to go for him just to save face and say, let's bring in someone proven, because of how bad things are. In Italy, a club might take it, like a club like maybe Napoli or an AC Milan. I think he still has maybe one or two clubs left in him. But I think once he leaves Spurs, I think if it gets worse at any other club, I think he's finished. I think then he's probably an untouchable for a serious club. But
Basil,
he's finished at the moment, bro.
No, Basil, this is why I say he's finished. Deep the club you just mentioned, we're talking about Jose Mourinho. Like, this is Jose, like a guy who was here with Pep. And you just mentioned Napoli. AC Milan are a big club, but AC Milan ain't AC Milan. You didn't even mention Juve, you didn't mention Real, you didn't mention PSG. Because you see, he can't make it at those clubs. He's done out here, man.
Yeah.
They're trying to win the Champions League, and play attractive football, bring in big names, If you take Mourinho there, it's finished, you know. That's a back 10. Neymar's going to be playing left back.
That's a back 10, you know. That's a back 10.
Back. Do you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, them teams there are like, nah, They're like, no, because, bruv, he's finished. Where do you go from Spurs? Poch, did so well with Spurs for about 4.5 years, and then obviously, like the relationship ended, innit? The marriage broke up. But then you found your new thing. Obviously, the rebound, which was Jose, you're expecting it to be, you know, a little better. For like you lot said, the honeymoon period was sweet for a good 4 years, well, 4 months. Sorry, man said 4 years. Not even 4 months, probably like 2-3 months, innit? And now you're like, wow, did man actually just stand my life away to a dead manager like this? It's done, you know. How can you bring Gareth Bell back here? And how can you bring Gareth Bell back here? And what do you call it? And you're not even playing him. Like,
yeah, man, you doing a bench, man. You get me? You're like an eyewitness, man. You just sat on the bench. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, but let's be honest about Gareth Bell, yeah. Gareth Bell is another player that's done out here. Like,
he's been done for years now.
Yeah, exactly. He's been done for years. Like he broke through as like a wonder kid from Southampton. Had like 2 or 3 good years at Spurs. Went to Real Madrid from about 2014 to about 2016, 2017. He was good. But for the past 4 years, he's been absolutely atrocious. So, look, when Lucas Moura and Bergwijn are getting ahead of you, you have to reconsider your career.
Yeah, and that's the thing is with Mourinho, we spoke on it. The fact that he's at Spurs, and again, this is no disrespect to Spurs. Mourinho's that's the first job he's gone into where he's not expected to win the major trophies. And when I say major trophies, the Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues. If you look at, all right, Porto's the start, but if you look at Chelsea, he's been brought in to win the Premier League, Champions Leagues. He went to Inter Milan after that, same thing. He went to Real Madrid after that, same thing. He went to Manchester, back to Chelsea. Back to Chelsea, he's expected to do that. He's brought, even though his powers are dwindling, in my opinion, at this point, he's been brought into Manchester United. It's of convenience. It's like Mourinho needs somewhere to go. Spurs won a trophy. You go get Mourinho, because I still think he's more than capable of winning an FA Cup, a Europa League, or League Cup. I don't think he's totally done. I just think he's done at the top level. And it wouldn't surprise me if they beat, it wouldn't surprise me if they beat City in the final, because it's just typical Mourinho. And they'll talk the most stuff. They could lose 5 games in the Premier League on the running into that. And then if they win that, he's not going to stop talking about it.
Did you see what he said at the press conference? I think it was like, when was the last time Spurs lost 3 in a row? Into like 2012. It's like, when was the last time Spurs won a league? And then they said the last time I won the league is like, for me, 2015. Like, this guy doesn't care.
Don't care. Disrespectful. And it's so great to watch when he's not at your club. When he's not at your club, it's fantastic. Like the Spurs, I've been howling. When he was at my club, man had me fuming, and I like it. It's like, I can't just take you just disrespecting my sat out there, disrespecting my club. So to see it happen to Spurs is great. You know what I'm saying?
And also, like, no disrespect to Spurs fans, because I know the boss is a Spurs fan, but like, low-key, Spurs are a slight irrelevant club. Like, I'm not trying to be harsh. Like, if you look at it in the grand scheme of things,
irrelevant. My issue is that they haven't won anything in a very long time, apart from a League Cup. They've never been in a conversation of even winning proper trophy, even at FA Cup at that level. They've never been in a proper conversation of winning anything tangible. So it's that when you think about it, they are slightly an irrelevant club. They're just there and thereabouts. Like for me, like the way I see it is when you go to a restaurant, they're the starters. You're not really interested in the starters. You're there for the main dessert.
You know what, Basil? They're not even the starters, because you know what the starters, you have to order them. You know those complimentary breads that they bring you on the table? That's what Spurs are, literally. Like, no one cares about that bread. You're like, oh, rather, they're in it. So, for me, Jose Mourinho and Spurs, done, finished. So, a couple of days ago, we put out a tweet asking people about generational talent, because before I jumped on Twitter, I've never heard this term generational. But then when I went on Twitter, people would call him Mbappe, Haaland generational. So we asked Twitter, who's generational? And I can't lie, for me personally, some of the names that I saw surprised me. So I saw names like Mbappe, that's fair enough, Haaland, Trent, João Felix. And I saw players like Jules Koundé, Donnarumma, Davies from Bayern Munich. Do you think that young players are being... You're muting Manny.
Wait, did man say Alphonso Davies?
Alphonso Davies, yeah. Yeah. Pete, somebody has to reply to the tweet. Yeah. People
actually Cole used to do back in the day. He's generational. Oh, allow it, man. No.
But Manny, let's start with you, because you've already taken offense to that. Like, firstly, which players would you class at the moment as generational? And do you think youngsters are get overhyped too quickly? Because that's what I think. I think a youngster can have 2 or 3 good games and everyone's gonna hype them. Because people forgetting last season was Davis' first season, and even at then they only watched him in the Champions League. They didn't even watch him in the Bundesliga.
The thing is, you see with Davis, Davis, I'm not obviously going to disrespect him and say he's like another Trent, because obviously he doesn't put up the numbers, but he's good at what he does, isn't it? Like I'm not going to kick a man like for, I'm not going to kick a man for what he's doing, but like to say he's generational is beyond me. You know, I've seen Roberto Carlos, bruv, man. That's a generational fullback. Do you know what I mean? Not man like Alphonso Davies. Like, if you're going to call Alphonso Davies generational, would you say Marcelo's generational then? Would you say Varane's generational? Not Varane, what's his name? Carver, what's his name? Oh, at Real Madrid, I forgot his name.
Carvajal. Danny Carvajal.
Yeah, Carvajal, that's it. Man said Varane, you know. Are you going to start telling me that those fullbacks are generational? Like, when you look at generational talents, for me, at the moment, like, it's so crazy. I don't want to say it, but you see Phil Foden, for me, I think he's generational. I think Phil Foden is generational. Players like Mbappe is generational. Neymar, generational talent. Who else would I give it to? Like, that's probably about it. Greenwood to a degree, do you know what I mean? Greenwood to a degree, I say is generational. But anyone else, I have people saying names like Saka, Martinelli, Mount, and all. Like, come on, man. They're good at what they do, but they're not generational talents for me. And I think generationally, you have to stand out. And those players that I've mentioned there, they're probably the only players that you say that when they're on the pitch, 9 times out of 10, they stand out.
But you just mentioned Mason Greenwood, and then you just brushed off Saka. With generational, you said these players have to stand out, but you can argue that this season, over a long period of time, Saka has stood out way more than Mason Greenwood.
Fair enough to a degree, but you see what the reason why I won't call Saka generational for me is because of the team he's in. I know disrespect to Arsenal, the team's dead. The team's completely dead. If you take Saka now, and throw him into like any top 4 team, is he actually going to start? No. If he does come on, is he going to look good? Who knows? The reason why he stands out at Arsenal right now is because all the other players around him are dead. Even Aubameyang to a level at the moment on form is dead. Do you know what I mean? So he's always going to stand out. You're always going to stand. If you're a good player, you're going to stand out in a shit team. That's just how it is. Arsenal is shit. Arsenal is shit. That's just what it is. So that's why I don't want to put him in a conversation. If Arsenal were to improve now, like imagine if he was playing with the likes of Ozil, Cazorla, Sanchez, and then man is actually standing out with these players, then I'll be like, okay, do you know what, my man might be generational, you know. My man, hey, big up. Come
on.
Here he is, big up Kojo in the building. He's about to slag off Spurs and Mourinho. My guy. What are you telling me, yo?
Yes, man, like flawless, bro. What you saying, my G? Come on.
My guy, yeah, man, my G. Come on. Yeah, man. Out here. Don't know.
Hey, wait, Manny, what you saying? Continue, please, before
So that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like Saka is an amazing player. He's great. Well, he plays like I've never seen him put what do you call it? Like a below 7 performance wherever he plays. The only place I probably haven't seen him play is centre back and up top, innit? But I don't know. I feel like I just can't call him generational. And there's a comment there about earlier. If Davis ain't generational, then Greenwood ain't freaking generational as well. Obviously, that's you can argue that. As a Manchester United fan, everyone knew about Greenwood way before he broke through, innit? Everyone was saying this guy's cold. This is the next Van Persie and stuff, innit? He then comes on in his debut season and bangs in, his full debut season, innit? And bangs in 17 goals. Are you going to tell me that's not generational?
Me personally, I think generational for me, like when I look at it, is a talent that is so good that you only see every generation. And for me personally, the only talents that I would class as generational at the moment are probably Kylian Mbappe and Erling Haaland. With Kylian Mbappe, the way he broke through, with Mbappe, I'm only going to use the Champions League performance because it's not as if I watched them week in, week out in the league. The way he broke through at Monaco for me was incredible. And then what he goes to do in the World Cup I personally haven't seen a young player drag a team or be as influential as Mbappe. And then Erling Haaland, he goes and scores a hat-trick in his Champions League debut. And the last player that I saw do that was Wayne Rooney, who's another player that I thought was generational. For me, I think the generational tag gets passed around too much, like the world-class tag. Like, if you're generational, we can't be giving it to every youngster because then the generational tag is diluted. I don't know what you guys think.
Have you noticed that I don't ever call anyone generational?
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Because for me, generational has to be spread over a amount of years. Like when you talk about generational talent, it's not only someone that shows ridiculous talent as a youngster, but they're somehow able to either maintain that or even elevate it to another level for the next couple of years. And I'm not talking about 2-3 years. I'm talking about 5 to 10 years where you're just killing it and no one can ever chat to you. So even if you don't win Ballon d'Or, it's like, for example, Thierry didn't win Ballon d'Or. He lost out to Neves 1 year. And then Kaká was there. Then Ronaldo was there. Then Ronaldinho was there. But he bossed it for so long that you can call him a generational talent because he was that good. So with someone like Haaland, for example, Haaland is a goal-scoring machine. But he's been doing that for 2 years now? Correct me if I'm wrong, because he did it last season with Salzburg. Was it Salzburg or was that before? Yeah. So I see him doing that at Dortmund now. But who's to say he goes to another team and then scores 5?
Wait, just quick one, yeah. Obviously, you just said something there, obviously, about certain players. Like, obviously, when I'm talking talent, yeah, I'm talking people. When you look at them, like I'm talking about youngsters, innit? Like, for example, like Ronaldo, yeah. I'm not going to call him a generational talent anymore. I'll call him a generational player, which he is, because he's at that level where he's done it. Do you know what I mean? So when I'm talking about talent, like that's why I'm naming these names, because these are players that are up and coming in the game. That's the way I'm seeing it. If we're talking about generational players, then I'm going to remove all of those players and then start.
Okay, so this is why I'm getting to it, because you mentioned people are obviously talking about Mbappe. And when Mbappe bursted onto the scene at 16, he's maintained that level for so many years now. And he's still not even 22, 23 yet. So generational talent, I agree. Do you see what I'm saying? Greenwood had his breakout season last year, 17 goals. You said it. This season, not to his fault, I'm not trying to get onto him, but it hasn't happened the same way. So I'm taking my time. Bukayo Saka, this is his real breakout year where he's become a certified starter on the Arsenal team. So let's see what he does this year. Then the next year, then the next year under that. I know it's a lot of pressure to put on a youngster, but that's literally how the game is. If you are a generational talent, you will have a period from like the age of, I used to say 18 to 21, where you see them going from strength to strength, bit by bit. And it doesn't have to be a big climb. It can just be a step-by-step thing. But you can at least see that they're growing into something, rather than having like another, sadly to say it, Freddie Adu situation where everyone was talking about this superb, crazy talent and he amounted to absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm very careful with this. So if you're talking about generational talent with youngsters now, apart from Mbappe, I can't give you anyone else. Trent might be close because Trent has done what, two or three seasons now with Liverpool where he's elevated. Two seasons, the Champions League, and then the Premier League year. But this season he hasn't been that great. But okay, he had COVID, blah blah blah. So we'll give it a pass bit by bit. But I want to see another year if he can go another step further. That's when I'll give him that type of generational talent. I feel like what Daniel said of once we see a player do well in like not even has to be a season, it could be 6 months, and it's like, oh, this kid's the best kid in the world. Why? For what? Because if he comes next season, he doesn't do well, you'll call him a one-season wonder or a flop or this or that. Greenwood's already being questioned by some of our fan base. For what?
Yeah,
but
it's mad.
That's
mad.
When you talk about a player who's got generational talent and a player who's got talent, they're two different things. Do you know what I mean? Like, for example, yeah, as much as we slander KDB as Manchester United fans, yeah, he had so much talent to the point where you say, wow, this is a one in a lifetime player, like Beckham in a way kind of thing. But he's got to a level where he's not a talent no more. He's a generational player. He's a certified world class player. Do you know what I mean? You can't then say he's still a talent. That's why I look at it. Maybe I guess everyone looks at it different, like just the way everyone looks at world class, who's world class and not world class, isn't it? But I'm not going to talk about certain man. Like for example, obviously you spoke about that age bracket between 18 to 21. Mbappe's what, 22 now, I think he is.
Yeah,
he's a generational player, bro.
He started at 16. He started at 16. That's what I'm saying. So he was at 16, and at Monaco, he did something crazy. That Monaco team, as good as they were, it was his crazy talent that was popping off so much that in Champions League and League One, they went to storm the league and they won the league title and went far in the Champions League. So when you say his name, I don't argue because that guy from 16 to this age now has been elevating his level. And people are watching him, and that's why there's so much pressure on other youngsters now. Because if you burst into the scene, they want that Mbappe impact, but it's not possible to have Mbappe impact. Not everyone is a generation. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm so reluctant to use that term. Just like world class, I had like 2 weeks of letting it loose, and then I called some players world class, and I went back and I was like, "Wait, hold on, Michael, you're chatting wass, bro. Stop it. Come back to where you were, bro." And unfortunately for me, it was on this platform, so that will never be deleted. It's there for life. But that's the point. Stop it, Manny. Stop it. but that's the point, though. It's like if you rush to call someone a generational talent and then they don't match what you expect of them, that's not on them. That's on you because you gave them way too much hype. Yeah, too much hype way too soon. So Mbappe, if from now the end of his career he doesn't hit the same heights, he just suddenly drops in form, he will still be a generational talent because of the way he had that impact over those years as a youngster. But would you call it a generational player because from the age of 22 to 30 he didn't? You wouldn't. You know what I mean? So it's like Harry Kane. Harry Kane for me wasn't a generational talent when he was a youngster because he was going from here to here everywhere on loan. He was here, there, everywhere. Like the guy couldn't be stable even at Tottenham. But then he had that breakout, and now but I call him a generational player.
I wouldn't call Gareth Bale a generational player.
Not Bale, Kane.
I wouldn't call Kane generational.
Because Kane went on loan everywhere as a youngster, so he was he wasn't stable anywhere.
I swear man went to Leicester and he banged, I think it was 1 or 2 goals all season.
That's what I'm saying. Leicester, Millwall, I think Southampton. Like he wasn't a talent that was certified. But then he had that one breakout at Tottenham where he scored like 13 goals, and then after that he became a monster. But he's been doing that for the last 7 years. Would you call him a generational player?
I personally wouldn't.
I'll call him a world class player.
I'll call him world class, not generational. Yeah, because I think generational is you define a generation. Like you are the man of you're one of the few players that you are the man of your generation. And I feel like with Harry Kane, yes, he is a very good striker. He's been amazing. But in terms of his generation, I wouldn't sit here comfortably say that he's been the best striker of his generation.
Okay. All right, then I'll ask you
he's been a very good player, though.
From 2010 to 2020, and we're not going to include Messi and Ronaldo in this because there's literally no point at this point. 5 strikers that you would say were the best 5 strikers within this 10 years. And I'm not trying to say the top 5 means generational. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Would
he be part of that top 5? Yeah. For me, he would.
Okay.
But for me, like Manny said, Lewandowski, I'd comfortably put him above Harry Kane. Okay. You guys might laugh at me for this one, but I'd put Karim Benzema above Harry Kane. And
I agree.
And I'd also put Luis Suarez above Harry Kane. And for me, you're mute, Flawless. You're mute.
Yeah, I don't think that's a debate. I think everyone would agree with that both Suarez and who was the other one you named? Benzema a clear of Kane.
And that's why I can't call him. That's why I can't call him generational. And I think the Harry Kane example is perfect because I look at some talents, like Manny mentioned Mason Greenwood. I think Mason Greenwood is a fantastic young player. And the funny thing with Mason Greenwood, everyone talks about his finishing, but I just see like some moments when he's outside the box, his turns, his 1-2s, I'm thinking, okay, this player is smart. Would I go as far as calling him generational? No chance. For me personally, I don't think at the moment he's near Kylian Mbappe. And that's what a diss to Mason Greenwood. That doesn't make him anywhere less bad. But I just feel like with tags like world class, generational, we can't just be giving it out to everybody because otherwise that term will become diluted. What do you think, Flawless?
I get what you're saying, and that's true because it depends on with the generational talent or world class. Everybody's criteria is different. So me and Manny, say for instance, could be going back and forth, and he could have a player in world class that I don't, or vice versa. But if his criteria is different to mine, who's right or who's wrong? There's no clear line. It's not like we're debating. All right, is this strike? We can all sit here and be like, all right, this striker's a 20-goal a season striker, and then we see him play. He's either a 20-goal season striker or he's not. There's no debate. He either scored over 20 goals or he got underneath 20 goals. So everyone's criteria is different. And with the term generational talent, what happens if your generation is just full of world-class players? For instance, like I'm not calling any of these generational talents, but they're not. But if you look at, say, England's right backs right now, how many English right backs are there that are very good? So certain player might miss out and not get played in that position simply because there's more man in front of him. Or if you look at England's attacking options, for instance, I'm not saying any of them are generational talents, but somebody's going to get a lot less caps. You know what I'm saying? When you've got Kane, Rashford, Sancho, Sterling, Foden, Grealish, Mount, Maddison, look at all them players I just named. Somebody's going to miss out. So say that again, Manny.
No, I was like, all those players, you named about 8 players for 4 positions.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So somebody's gonna miss out. So on the generational talent thing, how I don't really call players generational talent because I think players can just go through good form. A young player has a good season and people are quick to label this player, yeah, he's a generational talent. Let's see what happens afterwards. Mbappe to me is because as soon as I seen him, I'm like, yeah, you're something we haven't seen before at that age. And he's influencing big matches and big moments. People talk about individual accolades is all well and good, but football to me is a team game. What did your team win? You can score 60, 70 goals a season. Did your team win a winner's medal? Hear me? Did you pick up a trophy at the end of the season? Van Nistelrooy, one of my favorite strikers at Manchester United. What did we win with him? Just one Premier League title, I think. One title. He left and a League Cup. He left and we dominated and won everything. Won 3 back-to-back. But that's not to say Van Nistelrooy is not no good. I'm just saying that's how I judge the metric. That's why Van Nistelrooy wouldn't go down on my best ever United list because it's like we didn't win it. We didn't win enough with you. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a shot at you. That's just the way it was. So it depends. But yeah, back to what I was talking about Mbappe. I seen you be a part of a team win a World Cup, and you was the main man. He wasn't no side piece. He was the main guy. You were the go-to guy. Yes, Giroud was there, Griezmann was there, Pogba, etc. But that's generational. We don't see that often. You know what I'm saying? Probably, yeah. But I need to clear up my criteria in terms of I've not gone deep in thought about what generational talent is, but Mbappe seems to fit the bill to me in it because he looks like he's been playing for youngs. And that's not to say there's not other good youngsters out there like a Greenwood. You know what I'm saying? Like a Foden. But Mbappe just seems different. Yeah, Mbappe just above. Yeah. I get what you're saying, Manny. Go on.
Yeah, I don't call him a talent no more, bro. This guy is certified, bro. Man saying 16. What is he? He's been in the game for what, 5 years now, I think. And
he's been cancelled.
A man's been cold. How are you gonna call man like that a talent? He's not a talent no more, bro.
And you know what? And that's why, like, when people say generational, that's why I only allow Mbappe. The reason why is because we're talking about a 22-year-old as if he's a 25, 26, 27-year-old. And the last time I talked about a young player like this was Rooney and Ronaldo in 06, 07. Them man were 22, 23, badding up the Premier League the same way Mbappe is badding up seasoned professionals. So I have to agree with that.
And you know the reason, obviously, you like my criteria. Let me put it like this. At Manchester United, everyone was talking about. I just had his name and I lost it from my head. Anyways, when Pogba and their man were breaking through, what's his name?
Morrison.
And everyone was talking about him as a generational talent. You can still be a generational talent, but not make it. Do you know what I mean? That's just saying, okay, your talent is one of a kind in your generation. Now it's for you to do the work. But Mbappe's talent was one of the kind in his generation. He's done his work. He is not a talent no more, bro. He's certified.
He's certified and back to what?
Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. He's lost that tag.
And back to what Cole J said as well. When you're talking generational talent, I'm looking at it over a number of years. So it's tough to do that because a player can burst through and have a great season and then fall off and we never see him again. So it's like you have to me, there has to be some form of longevity. Unless if it's a short period, you're clear. Like I look at Ronaldinho, for instance. Even though his peak was only short, he was clear of everybody. So like I would put him in that group like That's why you're still the best player I've ever seen play football, because during that period, you were unplayable. I've seen you do things that nobody else has done. Like we talk about Mbappe being the main man at the World Cup. At that age, you don't see that. Ronaldinho playing for Barcelona got clapped off at the Bernabeu. This is the same fans who have booed Cristiano Ronaldo, who's their top goal scorer. You know, that's something generational. You know how much, he's made them, they've won what, 4 Champions Leagues in 5 years, and they booed him, their top goal scorer of all time, and they booed Cristiano Ronaldo. So for how well did Ronaldinho play in that game for them to clap him off the pitch? And we know how much they hate each other. Yeah, because I don't think I'd be at Old Trafford and United are playing Liverpool. A Liverpool player plays that. He could score. Mane could come and score 10 goals. I'm not clapping him off the pitch. It's not happening. It's not happening. Yeah. So it's like for him to do that, that's something generational we haven't seen before. But again, everybody's criteria is different for what it is.
True, but I do feel if you were to make it an argument and you put it like that, I think you get more people that agreed with you than disagreed with you. Because you said the whole Ronaldinho thing. Since then, has the Bernabeu even clapped any player? Even as like Lionel Messi is, for me personally, the best player I've seen, but I've never seen him being clapped at the Bernabeu.
I'm trying to think because even Casillas got booed, and that's
Casillas.
That's Iker Casillas.
Yo, Kojo, he is Mr. Real Madrid. Like if you cut him in half, he would show the badge. Yeah, like, he's been there as long as I remember playing FIFA 98, and he's there on the game. You get what I'm saying? At there. Fast forward to 2018, he's still, or whenever he left, he's still there. He is Mr. Real Madrid. You know what I'm saying? So they booed Iker Casillas. That's mad. That is
Basil,
mad.
What do you think of this topic? Because you've just been there taking everything in. But what do you think about this whole generational talent tag? Is there anyone you give that tag to?
There's only one player, which is Mbappe. I mean, first and foremost, for you to be a generational talent, you need to have talent and do things that no one else could do within your particular generation, and no other players can really do. Mbappe is the only one who broke him when he was at 17. You've seen, and you have to do it maybe over on a period of maybe 3-4 years. You're talking about for maybe when you're 17 or 18, and do it over a period of 3-4 years. Because when you break into a team, you're usually considered a talent when you break into a team very young. So I'll say maybe from when you're 16, 17, then you need at least a 3-4 year period where you're displaying skills and abilities that no other player or very limited amount of players can do. The performances are consistently there, and that's when you can give someone a generational talent. The only player who's done that over maybe a 3-4 year period is Mbappe. People would say people like Saka, and I agree with Manny. Saka only looks good because he's in a very poor Arsenal team. And it's like if you put Saka in another team, like a Liverpool.
No. I don't agree with that.
Okay, wait, I'll let you finish.
Because when you look at what he's doing, I'm not seeing he's playing very mature, but I'm not seeing anything like out of the world from him. And I'm saying that he's looking better because he's in a very poor Arsenal team where literally there's no good players in that team. And that's what I say, if you put him in another team, does he really stand out? I question whether he stands out. He can fit into the team, but I don't think he stands out in one of those big teams. So for me, Saka, I think Saka's a talent, no generational talent. Greenwood for me is definitely not generational talent. He broke he's 17 goals last season, and he's not playing well this season. Obviously, there's various reasons as to why that is, but he's not continuing that good form into this season. People mentioned to me Foden. Foden hasn't played like 5 games in a row for me to call Foden a generational talent. He's played for me the honeymoon games for Manchester City. The majority of the games he's played are honeymoon type of games. So for me, it's like I haven't seen Foden in difficult matches or maybe over a run of games. He's a talent, but I don't think Foden at the moment is a generational talent until Pep or whoever manages City gives him a good amount of starting games in that team to really see what he's made of. I think Mbappe is the only one because he's the only one that stood out. Broken at 17, led Monaco very far in the Champions League, led them to a league title. And you've seen since City left, they haven't been the same. Obviously, granted, other players have left. Helped France win the World Cup. He's doing it for PSG. All you have to do is watch his games to see, as you said, he plays like a 25-year-old and he's only 22 years old. I think other players are good talents, but I don't think they're generational talents because I'm not really seeing anything special from them that other players maybe can't do. Maybe some of them are performing a bit more consistently, but I don't know what their special skill is. Whereas when you look back in like the noughties, Ronaldinho was doing things that you couldn't do. Even Robinho was doing things that a lot of players couldn't do. Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo doing things players couldn't do. Del Piero's, and I could run for a whole list of players, Van Persie's, Henry's, where when you look at the technique and what they were doing, only a limited amount of players could possibly do what they were doing. But now, I look at this generation, a lot of players that people are heralding very high, I'm thinking, well, really and truly, a lot of players can do it if they do it more consistently. It's just that they're doing it a bit more consistently. Some players don't really have that special something about them. Only a limited amount of players do. And I think because we don't have enough of that, people have sort of lowered the bar in terms of what they call generational talent, even going back to the world-class type, because the level isn't there as it used to be. So I think you have to lower it to say, let's give these guys a different, fair assessment based upon what we currently have. I think for me personally, Mbappe is the only generational talent that we have at this current period, because he's the only one that's done it for a good amount period of time, and his goal scoring record in itself is ridiculous.
Now that's fair enough, but the one thing I have to do, like, I know you guys aren't trying to disrespect Saka, but I feel like the tone towards Saka is a bit disrespectful, and the reason why I say that is because maybe he won't stand out as much in other clubs, but I do still think Saka will get a lot of games at top clubs, because we say, okay, would he start at a top 4 club? If we've gone through the top 4 club, would he start at Chelsea? I think he definitely would start at Chelsea. If Chelsea fans are crying out for Callum Hudson-Odoi, then Saka would definitely start because for me, Saka is smarter and better and has proved it more than Callum Hudson-Odoi.
Maybe saying, no, Daniel.
Maybe not.
We're talking about.
Maybe not at Liverpool and Manchester City, but these are teams that have gone on to get 199 points. So we're talking about teams that have hit the bar there. For a 19, 20-year-old to start at those teams, you have to be special. But the one thing I give Saka is...
in that bracket, but relax.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Think about it.
Say that again?
I said Saka would bench Trent, so deep it. Don't put yourself in that.
Nah. Saka wouldn't bench Trent.
No.
That makes no sense.
You're relax, yeah?
Well, 4th in the league now, but what I said is 100 points, 99 points. Then Liverpool hit 99 points, and then they hit 97. They hit highs, didn't they? Man, I know you're pissed off that United haven't hit. I said they've hit those heights. I know you're pissed off that United didn't hit those heights, and you know on the OGS you won't hit those heights. I know you're mad, but it's calm.
I'm not mad. I don't care. But again, you're trying to put yourself in a conversation that you should not put yourself. You're trying to tell me Saka's not getting into Liverpool. Listen,
no, I don't think he will.
110%, bro.
What? I know. Wait. Hold up. You don't think Saka starts for you, lot?
No.
In the front 3, no. I don't think he starts over Mane. I don't think he starts over Salah.
No. Not in the front.
He starts over Trent. He benches Trent any day of the week.
Idiot. With your form, he defo starts. Salah goes into the middle and he'll play one of the sides in it.
No, with our form at the moment, he'll definitely stop. But then we can't be looking. That's the thing. We can't be looking at these clubs like FIFA. Salah will never go in the middle. We know that for a fact. Even in the games where Firmino doesn't play, Salah's always playing on the right. And when Mane comes back, Mane will always play on the left. And as bad as our form is, nobody here can say Saka can go in ahead of those two. But the thing is, with Saka, we're talking about Saka as an option on the left wing and the right wing. There's a lot of seasoned professionals, Riyad Mahrez, Ian Robin, who can only play on one wing. And for a 19-year-old to be that good at both wings at that age, I think we have to give him his props.
But look at players like Milner, though. Milner's played left back.
Yeah, but Milner gets his prop, but we give Saka his props. It's just the fact of, you see what I'm saying when we say generational talent. Not many players reach that bar. Many players don't reach that bar. Yeah. But Saka's jokes aside, Saka's quality. You know what I'm saying? To be able to go into a struggling team, be able to, I've seen him play, I don't even know what position it is. I've seen him play left back. I've seen him play left wing back. I've seen him play in the 10. I've seen him play left wing. I've seen him play right wing. And he's played them all very well in a poor side. Like, he's been similar to Mbappe when I spoke about Mbappe standing out in the World Cup. He's now, I don't know, Basil will be able to tell us better. When I look at Arsenal, he's one of their main guys. He's one of their go-tos. That's exceptional for someone of his age. Even though the squad's poor, Arsenal still have players there. You still have 72 million Pepe, whether you rate him or not. Lacazette's there, Aubameyang's there. But the fact those three are there, but you're looking at a 19-year-old, that's props to Saka. You know what I'm saying? And that no, he hasn't. But he hasn't played Champions League.
When last did Arsenal play
Wait, Manny. Aubameyang's not played in the Champions League for Arsenal. So you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
It's a world-class striker.
Let's stick to talent. Look. I'm gonna make a statement that you might think is controversial. But when people talk about the top talents in the Premier League, for me at the moment, I think Saka and Foden are top two. Me personally.
I wouldn't argue. It can be debated, but I wouldn't say you're wrong for that because they're both two very talented players.
And I like that response.
They're two talented. They're both talented.
The way people talk, even though I think Greenwood is amazing, but sometimes the way people talk is as if Saka can't chat to Greenwood. And for me, I think that's disrespectful to Saka. I think Saka can 100% chat to Mason Greenwood.
They play like Saka. You compare Greenwood and Martinelli. I don't think it's fair to compare Greenwood and Saka because one year, what position does he play? And two, Greenwood is playing out of position.
Yeah, but Manny, I don't think you can compare Greenwood and Martinelli. I think it is Greenwood and Saka. I said Saka. No, Greenwood's just been unlucky this season because that's the last season. What he did was quite exceptional. For a man of his age to go in and score 17 goals was exceptional. Obviously, this season hasn't worked out. I think Saka's the level because Saka's risen in levels where they're in that bracket conversation. It's just like Greenwood, as he said, is out of form. I wouldn't even put him against Martinelli because for me, Martinelli, and I say this as an Arsenal, I do not know what the hype is around Martinelli. I generally think Martinelli is a bog standard Brazilian player with no literally.
I can't even. I don't believe what you're saying because he supported Burnley.
Yo, Kojo, you missed it. Man was claiming West Ham today, you know. You missed it. Man was claiming West Ham today, you know.
That is the most shameless fan ever. I'm telling you.
Man's been Arteta in, Arteta out. We're going to get relegated. We're going to win the league. So
we're going to make top four. No, but wait, Basil, do you know why people rate Martinelli? Because Ronaldinho gave him a cosign.
Yeah, that's nonsense. Ronaldinho, what he's drinking. Like, man, this is where he just came out of prison. He was celebrating. He's released from prison. That's why. This one is sober Ronaldinho. He was a man that just got his freedom back and was drinking all night long. That's where that coming in. But honestly, and I always ask people this, right? And this is what I always say about Martinelli. I always ask people this when people tell me he's a special. I said, what's his special talent? Nobody can tell me because he doesn't beat players one-on-one. If you watch him, he doesn't have like the type of skill you expect from Brazilian. He's not really a dribbler like that. He's fast and he works hard and scores a few goals. And I said like, what makes Martinelli so special? I don't know, and I have yet to see it at Arsenal.
I didn't call him a special talent. I just said when you want to compare players, you compare Greenwood and Martinelli.
No, Greenwood is levels.
Greenwood and Saka.
Greenwood is levels above Martinelli. I wouldn't even compare those two.
No, the only reason why I'm comparing is I think like the youngsters, it's a youngster for Manchester United, a youngster for Arsenal. Martinelli, they say he's a striker. I'll probably see him as a winger. Obviously, what's his name? Greenwood is a striker. He's playing on the wing. So I'm going to compare anyone. I'll compare them two in it because they're both like they seem like goals. Well, Greenwood is a goal scorer. Martinelli seems like that's his game, a goal scorer, striker, number 9. But then with Saka, I can't compare Saka and Greenwood. I just feel like they're two different players. And do you know what? Now that I think about it, I could probably actually will say Saka maybe is a generational talent because I don't know who I would compare him with in his generation, to be fair.
Kojo's not happening.
However, yeah, he's in a dead team and I don't know. I just don't know. With Saka, like, I just don't know.
Forget about the caliber of the team. The guy is a good player. And
yeah,
as a youngster,
I might have to just take that back.
As a youngster, he's got wonderful talent. Listen. I understand the hesitation. I understand the hesitation, isn't it? Because I'm still waiting for Carlos Villa to be world class. But you know, it's one of those ones where.
Ooh, shots fired in that. Who did you say? Calvin Phillips? Did you say? Calvin Phillips?
Carlos Vela.
Oh, Carlos Vela. Oh, right. Okay. I think
But the king,
I remember him on FM, man. Man used to sign him all the time. Top baller.
exactly. Yeah, the king of the chip because you're scoring chips in the Worthington Cup. You know.
That's a
So
little.
I understand the hesitation, isn't it? But it's one of them ones where with Saka as a standout alone is doing things on the pitch that I want to see from a youngster. And when you show a level of maturity above your age, that's only good for your futures. Now to just step up a level, innit? Now with Martinelli, this is an interesting question because Basil, I'm not gonna lie to you, yeah. I'm happy you say you don't compare him to Greenwood because in my mind I watch him and I'm not trying to like it's not a banter throw or anything.
Say it. It's calm. Say it.
Is he even better than Dwight McNeil?
No, allow it.
No. Gentlemen, question. Watch McNeil. Watch McNeil's game and answer the question.
No,
Is he better than him?
Martinelli doesn't have any special. There's not a special ability you can name to Martinelli. And if you ask Arsenal fans to generally give you the answer, they can't give you the answer.
You know what, Basil? I'm gonna start doing that still because I've heard about Martinelli, but I've not really gotten to Arsenal fans about it because there's so much other banter to go to. But I'm gonna go to Martinelli. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
They'll talk the talk, but then you ask them like, okay, break it down as to what makes this guy special. They cannot give you an answer. Cannot give you an answer.
Because Basil was saying that he hasn't seen him beat one-on-one. Dwight McNeil I've seen him beat players one-on-one, whip a delicious ball in many times, man. And find his guys.
Trent's still turning.
He finds his targets. So if he can do that, and you're still asking about questions, and I guess what they'll do is the unserious fans will go and tell you, "Oh, he scored against Chelsea when Kante slipped," and then he stood there, and like
let me just throw a disclaimer out there, innit? I never said Martinelli is a world-class talent or generational talent. I just said if you're going to compare Greenwood to anyone from Arsenal, comparing to Martinelli because of the age and being number 9s and blah blah blah. But that's just me. I didn't say he's good. I didn't say he's bad. Let me just put that out there, innit? Get me.
And me saying comparing to Dwight McNeil, it's not me trying to say that he's I don't even think he's an average youngster. I actually think he's got a good level of talent.
I think he's okay,
But McNeil has got a good level of talent, but because of the team he plays for, no one wants to acknowledge him whatsoever. If I'm being deadly serious, he plays for Burnley. Who cares about Burnley? Let's be deadly serious. Who here cares about Burnley? Anyone watching who cares about Burnley? Really and truly, no one does. So he will not get the accolades. And it's not crazy accolades, but no one will watch him and think, he's got something because he's not a fashionable team or a fashionable club. That's why it's taken a long time for people to see Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips is not a small boy. He's 24 years old. He's not a child.
Calvin Phillips is 24.
I swear, he's definitely not like 18 or 19, 20 or something like that. Let me type it. I'm on the computer. Don't worry, I've got this.
The way people talk about Calvin Phillips is as if he's a young player, but I think that has
he's 25.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You see,
I think we've even though we haven't said it explicitly, but I think that's the problem with young players nowadays. I heard somebody say, I think it was Michael Richards, the media love building up players too quickly, too soon. For example, how much did they rate Dele Alli 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
But wait. We just had a conversation about talent right now, and we not mentioned Dele Alli. When we hear pundits and the mainstream talk about talent, they will not mention Dele Alli. I'm not saying Dele Alli is a bad player. I feel that youngsters should be allowed to go through bad forms because, yes, like we said, we talked about Ronaldo and Rooney 06, 07, but then we're not going to talk about how Ronaldo and Rooney went out of the Champions League group stages in 05, 06. Young players are allowed to go through bad patches of form. But I do think that right now, with social media, with Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, pundits trying to say clickbaity stuff, I do think a lot of young players get hyped up way too soon. And for me, that's how I wanted to have this conversation. Because when I put out the tweet and I saw a lot of people put names like Jules Koundé, Donnarumma, who, let's not forget, he's out of a contract this summer. If you're generational, you're not going to be out of a contract with 6 months to go. When I saw that, I'm like, nah, for me, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, but Daniel, what we got to remember though with social media, people are very reactionary. So a youngster can have 2 good games, and you'll have people on social media calling him a generational talent, seriously having that conversation of 2 good games, not even 5 to 10. two good games because you can go to your phone and you get gassed up, especially when it's a player in your team as well. So it's like even with Arsenal, with Saka, Martinelli, for instance, they're going to gas him up because they don't have much to shout about. And we're all very tribal with our football teams. So you're going to big him up. But yo, I got to shoot off anyway, but love for having me, man. Anytime you need me back, just shout me in it. Yeah, me. Much love, man. I appreciate this, man. Yeah, man.
Before
Anytime,
you
yeah?
leave, guys, you see Flawless is out there, Sarcasm City. Don't forget to follow all of that and support him.
Yeah, man. Love, yeah. Big up to you, man.
Yeah, big up, man.
Yo, it is, yeah. Can we just quickly talk about Dele Alli because
I was even gonna say I'm gonna have to bounce as well, innit? Unfortunately, man. That's these calls, so man's got to go.
Take care.
I love, man.
A little bit. Can we speak about Dele Alli quickly because I have a level of sympathy for him, but at the same time, I do get why people rip into him. For me, it's like this. When you came onto the scene at MK Dons, you saw someone that was, 17, 18, trying to elevate their game at a lower level, innit? So when you come to Tottenham and you make such an impact so quickly with Harry Kane next to you, the hype about him grew because what Basil was asking about, saying that what you say Martinelli's best talent is, for me, for Dele Alli, it was one, his movement off the ball, and two, his ability to know when to arrive in the box to get goals. And thirdly, his aerial ability. That's how he was scoring a ridiculous amount of goals at Tottenham. So he had the perfect link-up player with Kane to do his thing. But I feel like where he suffered is once he, and it's a common thing now with football fans in general, is once he didn't hit the same height of the 20-goal season and 10 assists or something, once he doesn't hit that height, it's like people asking what does he have to his game. Now, I brought those things up first because I feel like he has that to his game. But what's happened with him is when you play for England, they're not playing the same system that you had on the Pochettino at Tottenham. So you're not going to thrive the same way. So when we saw him playing in centre midfield, he's always going to suffer. The guy's not a good central midfielder. He's not going to be someone that's box to box and win tackles and do this and do that. And then when you take him back to Tottenham, and coincidentally, Tottenham's bad run of form when they started becoming very inconsistent because he had a good level of consistency. That's when they went from third and then next season second. When they fell off, coincidentally, his form also dipped. So is that a thing where he was, or because they weren't able to play the same football, keep up to the same level, his form dropped with them? Or is it now a case of now that's happened, Pochettino's gone, with Mourinho, he's not going to have that same level of footing because Mourinho's definitely not going to play the type of football that Dele Alli or pretty much a lot of players right now are going to thrive in. I don't know. What do you guys think?
The issue with Dele Alli is this, and all you have to do is watch the documentary to understand, the Tottenham documentary to understand what happened to Dele Alli and why Dele Alli. Because Mourinho said it, he's one of the worst trainers you can ever have on the pitch. And the reason why I say that is key is because when you look at Kane, right, when Kane first broke through, I used to say this, very good striker, but I used to say he's a systematic striker. In terms of all the build-up has to be created for Kane to finish it off. When you look at Kane, he improved this game to say, I'm not just going to be the striker where I'm scoring goals in the box. I'm going to up my game and work on my weaknesses, work on dropping, work on my passing. Because remember when initially Kane tried to do the number 10 role, he looked dreadful. It wasn't working out for him. We can tell one of the training grounds worked on that, worked on his rate of passing, the variety of his passing, works on his shooting, works on his overall game to become a better player. So that it doesn't matter what manager comes in, what system we play, I'm still going to thrive and be effective. Now, when Dele Alli broke through, as Mark was saying, exceptional in terms of the impact at Tottenham, was a very limited player in terms of the system had to be right for him to thrive. And as Mark was saying, when he went to England, the system's different. So he doesn't thrive. And what you find with Dele Alli is that the praise got to his head, but he saw himself as just like the number 10, like the number 10 who gets in and scores goals, but he didn't work on his overall game. And sometimes when Posh dropped in deep into midfield, he looked terrible. I mean, couldn't control the midfield. Moving into certain space in midfield wasn't great. His passing wasn't great. And then when you watch the documentary, you understand why he didn't get better and why when systems change and managers change, he struggles because he's a lazy trainer. He believed in the hype and did not decide to work and improve in his overall game. And when things move on and change, he suffered as a consequence of it. And like I said, I look at Dele Alli and it's a shame because his impact was absolutely sensational. He should have continued working on his game and improving his overall game and certain aspects which were weak in his game, and he just didn't do that. And like I said, he's fallen by the wayside now.
Yeah, I have to agree with that because I watched the documentary as well, and what Jose said about him being a poor trainer, that stuck with me. And for me, like, there's a couple players that I've heard being called poor trainers, but those players are at City it was Aguero and Tevez, and at Chelsea it was Eden Hazard. These are game winners. These are players that, even though you want your star players to be training at 100%, you know that, okay, come Saturday, come Sunday, Hazard, Tevez, and Aguero are going to win us the game. You cannot really say that with Dele Alli. And the thing as well with Dele Alli, and I do feel sorry for him, he grew up idolizing players like Steven Gerrard. And I'm not going to insult Steven Gerrard. He's one of my favorite players. But I do feel like with players like Gerrard and Lampard, there's a bit of revisionism. People think that they prospered in the midfield too. No, they prospered as either number 10s or players who had other players doing the dog work. So, for example, Lampard, in Chelsea's first season was Thiago Makelele. In the second season was Essien and Makelele. Gerrard's best season for Liverpool was when he had Xabi Alonso and Mascherano at the back. The reason why I'm saying that is because Dele Alli, I feel like, only got the Hollywood side of being a midfielder, the late runs into the box, the long shots, the headers. But unfortunately, football has changed completely. To be a good midfielder, you can't just be a player that runs in late into the box. You need to have another side to your game. You need to be able to be good at passing the ball, playing those triangles, the 1-2s round the corners. That's why if you look at all the good midfielders nowadays, they're not really goal scorers like that. The Luka Modric, the Toni Kroos. They're players who can control the game, who the positioning, the body position when they receive the ball is good. And I don't feel like Dele Alli has improved that side of his game. However, I do still think there is enough time for him to improve that. I just don't think that Jose Mourinho, I know there's a shot, but I just don't think Jose Mourinho is the manager to improve that for him.
But don't you think that's always been the case with football? I mean, in terms of goal scoring, I don't want to discuss Lampard because Lampard was an anomaly in it. So when we talk about our favourite midfielders, for example, Iniesta and Zidane don't have crazy numbers in terms of goals scored because what we saw from them, and people call it the eye test, is just watching football, innit? When you watch them, you were just generally mesmerized by what they could do with football and the way they were intelligent on the pitch. But in most, or not most, in some cases as well, even back then, you still had your players that weren't too involved in play, but they found the right moments to make the impact. That was the kind of thing that I loved about watching some players. So they had little involvement in the build-ups and the passing of the ball before you went to goal. But at some point, when they got the ball, you knew what was about to happen because they had that moment and they knew where to get there. With Dele Alli, that's why I feel sorry, because you mentioned it with Tottenham. You don't have to do that when you have an informed Ndombele, goodness, Moussa Dembele and Wanyama. That midfield
Exactly.
was pure, it was just ridiculous. And then I said Lampard had Essien and Makelele behind him, or Ballack and Essien behind him. Deco was there for a year. And then you got to, I don't even come to Man United. Like, when we played 4-3-3, the front three didn't have to do too much defensively, even though they did, because Carrick was a controller. Scholes was a controller. Carrick was an interceptor as well. He knew how to intercept rather than challenge for balls and stuff. Well, I don't know.
I'll give you an example. My issue is this: is that with Dele Alli, he could only get away with it so much if he was constantly scoring goals and goals. And I give you I compare him to a few players, 3 players. If you look at Thomas Muller, right, he does all the basics. So he doesn't have but like I said, he consistently impacts games, whether it's assists or whether it's goals. And so for him, is that no one wants to question him because they know that he always has an impact in the game and consistently does it. Same when you look at Bruno Fernandes, he may not perform well, but you can't really question him because he's always having an impact consistently in games. And for Dele Alli to go away with what he was doing, he had to continually do that. And when he was out of form and the goals dried up, that's what people question, what does he do? Same as Bruno. You can question what does Bruno do, but he gets the goals and the assists. The moment Bruno's goals and assists dry up, we'll go back to the question, what does he do? One of the biggest examples was Arsenal's Aaron Ramsey. I mean, he fooled everyone into thinking he was a goal-scoring midfielder. No, he absolutely did. Because
he didn't fool me, boy. He didn't fool me. That's all I'm saying.
I love him. I love him personally. I love him.
Yeah, half of the season was scoring goals, but then you look at why he didn't play regularly with Arsenal, even when he was fit, because when the goals dried up, people question, well, what do you really do as a midfielder? Because you can't just rely on making late runs into the box and not scoring enough goals, because you need a bit more. And like I said, when you don't continue, when the impact in games isn't consistently there, the questions arise, and then it takes a man to say, I've had enough. I need someone who's going to be more effective for what I want to do when you're out the side. And unfortunately, that's why Dele Alli has got the axe from the Tottenham side. And this doesn't just start with Mourinho, by the way. Remember, this also
100.
Yeah. So there you go.
One last thing before we round up. You mentioned two players, Bruno Fernandes and Thomas Muller. But the thing with those two players, when Bruno Fernandes plays for Portugal, which a lot of people, I don't know, for some reason don't realize, he plays in the midfield three. And the reason why he can play in the midfield three, because when Bruno Fernandes puts his mind to it, he can actually keep it simple, keep it tidy. His positioning is actually good for a midfielder. Thomas Muller also assists the likes of Joshua Kimmich and Goretzka in the build-up.
Yeah.
As a midfielder, as a number 10, to be very good, you need to be able to do that. And I don't think Dele Alli has gotten that side of his game up to par yet. And that's why, like you say, if you're not scoring or assisting, what do you add to the game? And he needs to add that other side to the game, the actual midfield work to the game. And until he adds that, I think it's going to be peak for him, unless he can go to a team where they have two players doing the dog work for him, which he could, but there are not many teams out there.
I think he should become a striker. Because truly, how many players do we watch when we're watching strikers? How many guys from up front have his movement, have his prowess in the air, and he's actually quite a good finisher. You can look back at some of his goals. Remember the one night against Chelsea when Alderweireld played one over top? The touch first to bring it down and then finish it. Against United in Mourinho's first couple of games, when the ball was behind him, fixed it and finished it. The guy, for me, I think he could be a good striker, actually. If he's not going to be a midfielder, I think we have to adapt him to a striker quick, because otherwise, I don't know. Unless he finds Pochettino again, but that's not happening.
If Dele Alli becomes a striker, you heard it here first from Coach Kojo. Dele Alli should be a striker. But guys, that's been another episode of FS Uncut. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.